Hi, I'm Rick Anthony, and welcome to the Someone You Should Know podcast, the podcast that focuses on musicians, authors, and interesting people. We like to say we're making a difference one artist at a time. So sit back, have a cold one, and get ready to meet someone you should know. When the COVID pandemic started sweeping over the world in 2020, it took many lives and impacted the way of life for most of us. Some of us worked from home. Some of us sat on the couch and binge-watched Netflix. Others took to developing their creative side, from cooking and crafting skills to writing music. And that happens to be the case of today's podcast guest. She is an accomplished songwriter. Will you please welcome, all the way from London, Frankie Carvalho. Thank you so very much for joining us.
Thank you, Rick. It's a real pleasure to be here.
Whereabouts in London are you, darling?
Well, I'm in the London suburbs. I don't know if you know any of the London suburbs, but it's near Crystal Palace.
Okay, very good.
I can get a train and be in central London in half an hour.
Oh, very good, very good. We happen to have a guest on tomorrow that is from Brighton. So we figured just a little ways down the motorway, right?
Yes, that's right. Yes.
Now, I read in Frankie's notes here that she nearly lost her brother to COVID, and it was even harder for her because she could not see him because of COVID restrictions. And you took to writing a poem. Can you tell us how you got from a poem to developing your songwriting skills?
Yes. Well, none of this was planned. I have to stress that. It just happened, and I just sort of followed what was happening. Because I wasn't in a good place, because I'd already lost a friend to COVID, my friend Vivian. And then my brother became sick and was in ICU for 6 weeks. Living alone, I wasn't in a good place. And just one afternoon, I just sat and wrote a poem for my brother. And as far as I was concerned, that was the end of it. I'd written that poem for him, and that was, I didn't see it going any further. But then I saw an ad by music producer James Hawkins, which said something along the lines of, "Have you got a story? Would you like to unlock your song?" And this appealed to me, and I thought, well, I've got my poem. I don't know if it would work with that. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I contacted him, signed up for this, and lo and behold, my poem became a song.
Isn't it amazing? True story here. I lost my wife in 2018, and I was just sitting out there on the patio with a cup of coffee, and I wrote a poem for her that ended up being used in the celebration of her life. I don't write poetry. I really don't. I like talking as far as that goes. I'm a good writer, but not necessarily really good with poetry. But it turned out really, really well. Let's talk about your musical influences as a youth growing up in Britain. What was some of your influences? I'm guessing maybe the Beatles, maybe at some point.
Oh yes, the Beatles definitely. But before that, I mean, my dad was a drummer. Oh, seriously? Wonderful. Yeah, and he played in the West End of London for various theatre shows. Unfortunately, he passed away when I was 11, but my brother followed in his footsteps, and my brother became a drummer. So I've always had music in my life.
Wonderful.
But as a teenager, definitely it was the Beatles. I referred the Beatles to the Rolling Stones. So, and I went to see the Beatles. I was lucky enough to go and see them. So, that was it. And I still like the Beatles music.
Oh, yes, we do, too. As a matter of fact, we're going to be in your neighborhood probably in August. We're going on an 8-day Beatles adventure. That's going to spend, I think, 4 or 5 days in London and a couple of days over there in Liverpool as well, going to all the haunts, Abbey Road and also Strawberry Fields and the Cavern Club and Paul's and John's mom's homes. That's part of our adventure coming up for later in August. So we're very, very excited about that.
I'd love to do that.
Yeah, very good. Well, maybe we'll just kidnap you while we're there. We'll just kidnap you and take you along with us. Yeah. Yes. We probably have a big enough room.
That's something I've always wanted to do, and I've never got around to it.
Very good.
But I will.
Well, we're going to be doing that in August, so we'll have to stay in touch. Now, before you developed your lyrical side, you were a professional photographer, or you still are a professional photographer. That creativity that you've got to become a professional photographer lended to your creativity of being a lyricist. So you're just a very creative individual. How are you able to balance those two parts of your mind there, your two parts of your brain, that because of all the creativity that's flowing between the two sides?
Well, I find, I don't know if it's a photographer's mind, but often if I'm just out and I just see something, I imagine it being framed as a photograph.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I'm on a train and I look to the other side at another platform and I can see all the people maybe standing looking at their phone or reading a paper or under an umbrella, and I think I could group them together and make a photograph out of it. But when I was working as a photographer, I started with babies and children, and then I went on to what they called Hollywood portraits, where you make the ladies up and dress them up.
The glamour shots, the glamour shot.
Yeah, the glamour shots.
Yeah.
And that was when I had the most success, and I got an award from Kodak.
Oh, seriously? Wonderful. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, that was a few years ago now. And that was good. But now, I mean, when I started my songwriting, it didn't really cross my mind to marry the two together. But of course, once a song's completed and you have to think about marketing, I thought, well, I've got to find an image for each song. And this is where the photography came in. I would look through my library of what I've got. And if I had an image that I thought would match up to particular lyrics or a particular song, I would use that. Or if I couldn't find one that I particularly thought was suitable, I would go out with my camera and find just a suitable image. And that's how I've married the two together, which I find quite rewarding, because I'm not doing it now for a client. I'm doing it for myself. I'm writing the song and I'm supplying the image. And I enjoy that process as well.
All right, very good. We're going to feature a song now here. This is the first song that you actually got written and off to be voiced. First song is called Dancing and Free. Can you tell us how this song all came to be and then who's singing on it?
This is the song version of my original poem that I wrote for my brother. And I worked with James Hawkins, the music producer, to put this song together. And this was a lovely experience for me because I'd never been in a recording studio before, and it was just wonderful. And if you recall, at that time, all the theatres were closed because of the pandemic. And I started working with somebody else. His name was Christopher Mitchell. And he said, well, let's put an ad out for a vocalist. And we got over 300 responses. And I guess this is because the theatres were closed.
Yes.
And there were so many vocalists out there who wanted work. So we narrowed it down to 6. And then we chose Amy Di Bartolomeo. And she's a really good musical theatre performer. She's been in the musical Six, if you've heard of that. It's about the 6 wives of Henry VIII. And she's been in Bat Out of Hell, I think. And so we chose her, and her voice is just amazing. And I'm so glad that we did get her to perform. And I doubt that if there hadn't been the pandemic, if the theatres hadn't been closed, I doubt that we would have got her. But there you go. We did, and I'm just really pleased. And she went on to record some other songs for me.
Awesome. Very good. Well, we're going to hear that song right now, Dancing and Free, the lyrics by Frankie Carvalho, today's podcast guest right now on the Someone You Should Know podcast.
Guiding on thin ice, hoping that you won't fall. Feeling lost without you, waiting for that call. Sanitized, dehumanized, this trauma traps us all. Looking through tear-filled eyes, this monster's got us all. Stumbling to catch my breath, trying to hold on. My heart in isolation, infecting my soul. A wretched, awful silence with no movement at all. A fractured, broken chord, crying out to be found. I'm caught up in quicksand, and I'm dreaming of release. When a voice calls to me, a chorus in harmony, like a perfect flying butterfly. There's an angel in the air, and the music makes you wanna dance, and so without a care. And before you can believe it, you're dancing. And before you can feel it, you're dancing and free. Letting go is easy. Just turn from the pain. Spin away, feel the breeze. It'll all be okay. Believe in love, believe in you. Friends will come again. Darkness hides your rainbow. Turn to the light. I'm caught up in quicksand, and I'm dreaming of release. When a voice calls to me, a chorus in harmony, like a perfect flying butterfly. There's an angel in the air, and the music makes you wanna dance, and so without a care. And before you can believe it, you're dancing. And before you can feel it, you're dancing. Just take my hand, it makes me strong. No longer bleeding, now we are healing. What would we do without our friends there? I'm caught up in quicksand, and I'm dreaming of release. When a voice calls to me, a chorus in harmony, like a perfect flying butterfly. There's an angel in the air, and the music makes you wanna dance, and so without a care. Before you can believe it, you're dancing. And before you can feel it, you're dancing. And free.
Oh, I like that one. Dancing and Free from today's podcast guest, Frankie Carvalho. She did the lyrics, and that's Amy Di Bartolomeo on the vocals there. We'll hear more of Frankie's beautiful songs in just a few minutes, but I'd like to thank you so much for tuning in to the Someone You Should Know podcast. It's available on the World Wide Web at Someoneyoushouldknowpodcast.com. There you're going to find our recent news, our archive of past episodes, and a whole lot more. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we invite you to leave us a review, if you would, please. Now, according to Buzzsprout, the service that shares us to all the different streaming platforms, We are so very blessed to reach over 1,800 cities in 85 countries around the world, and we want to salute a couple of cities in the neighborhood of where Frankie's from. London, also Peckham and Finchley and Stratford, and also Chelsea. We've got listeners there, so thanks so much. So some of your friends and neighbors are listening, Frankie. The Someone You Should Know podcast is heard wherever quality streaming audio is available. And we get back to our interview with Frankie Carvalho. Frankie, you've done so much in such a short amount of time. How do you come up with the subjects of your songs?
I don't know. They just come to my mind. Sometimes I might be watching a drama on TV and there might be a line in that drama and I pick up on that. Or I can be out and about and I see a situation, or I could look back at something that's happened to me in my life. All sorts of things happen. I find that if I'm sitting here thinking, I'm going to write some lyrics, it doesn't always work. I just get stuck. Mm-hmm. I like it when it just comes to me and I have to grab a piece of paper and write it down. That's the best time, I think.
I think you're just right. You're a conduit from some lyrical god up in the heavens that says, I'm going to bless her with the topic. I'm guessing you've got a lot of notebooks sitting around with lyrics in them.
Oh, yes, an awful lot. I've got a whole lot. Just like 3 or 4 lines. And I write them down. I thought, I'm going to keep them. I'm going to use them one day.
Frankie, I used to write comedy for many, 19 years for the All-Star Radio Network. And I used to keep a notepad by the side of the bed and also in the bathroom, because oftentimes you'd be sitting there in the solace of doing what you're doing, either waking up or getting ready to fall asleep or doing what you're doing in the bathroom. And a topic will come up, and I've written some of my best stuff on the throne. I'm guessing there was a lot of notebooks you have. Or if you're out and about, do you use your smartphone or anything like that to copy down lyrics?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Always.
I could always imagine. Yeah, when you're a lyricist, you got to be inspired as far as that goes. Well, the next beautiful song that you wrote is called Reasons. What's the backstory on Reasons?
Reason is actually my latest release.
Oh, okay.
The backstory on that really is, I suppose it's just part of my life, and then a common thing that happens to a lot of people when you're in a relationship and you feel it's not going so well, and you want it to last, but you feel that it won't. And so you're saying to the guy, the girl, whoever, give me a reason why I should stay. You want someone to say to you, yeah, I really want you. I want this to work out. But in your heart, it's not going to. So you're saying, come on, give me a reason. I want a reason for you to give me so that I know I can stay.
Oh, very good. Very good. Now, who's doing the vocals on this one?
Anna Sonido. This is another really talented girl. Her name's Anna Sonido. I worked on the song with James Hawkins, and we were discussing who we could use as a vocalist. And one of my friends recommended Anna. So I got in touch, and along she came, and the rest is history.
All right, very good. We're going to hear that song right now, Reasons, from today's podcast guest, Frankie Carvalho, featuring Anna Sonido on vocals.
Looking through the window of your soulless basement flat, watching every careless footstep, try to avoid every trip, every pavement crack. Give me a good reason why I should stay and try to work things out, when it was clear from the start you never played your part. And for that reason I'm out. Yeah, for that reason I'm out. Now I'm trying to find a reason to feel sad that things didn't last. This no restriction, work of fiction, and all that you said. Don't you think I was kind of misled? Give me a good reason why I should stay and try to work things out, when it was clear from the start you never played your part. And for that reason I'm out. me, I shut my eyes to your disguise. Now I see nothing but your fantasy. You crossed the line, and now it's time for you to know that. Time for you to know that I'm out. Give me a good reason why I should stay and try to work things out. When it was clear from the start, you never played your part, and for that reason, I'm out. Ambiguity with no maturity, building dreams with crazy scenes. Did you lose your deep sincerity, or are you trapped behind your social screen? I was offended by what you intended. You need to know that cause you messed with my head. Did you mean to harm me or just to cause alarm? This fairy tale you wrote has come to an end. Give me a good reason why I should stay and try to work things out. When it was clear from the start, you never played your part, and for that reason, I'm out. Yeah, for that reason, you're out.
Great music there from today's podcast guest. She's a lyricist, Frankie Carvalho, featuring Anna Sanito on vocals. The song is Reason. It's the latest release from Frankie's archive of great stuff there. Now, Frankie, so far, what did you say would be your high water mark to date? What would you say has been your biggest accomplishment so far, and what do you hope to accomplish later in 2024?
Well, my biggest accomplishment is Dancing and Free, because that was the first song, and that just ran away with it all by itself. Because I wrote a poem, I never expected it to be a song, and then I released it as a charity single so I could raise money for the hospital that saved my brother's life, although he has got long COVID now. And all these things, some things I've never done in my life before. I never thought I would do. Writing a poem, yes, I've done that before, but I never thought it would be a song. I never thought I'd be in a position where I could raise money for a hospital by releasing a song. And so that's my greatest accomplishment.
Wonderful.
Because I even in the past, or even the recent past, I've never said to myself, I'm going to write a song. It never even occurred to me that I would be doing it. So, yes, that's the greatest accomplishment.
Wonderful, wonderful. What would you like to do in the remainder of 2024?
Well, I've started working with another music producer, trying to put another song together. I've only had a couple of sessions with him. But the big aim for me is I want to release an EP. Okay. And I'd like to do that. I'm not sure if I could put all my songs so far on an EP, or if I just continue writing a few more before I decide to do that. That's another accomplishment.
Awesome.
And I'd like to, because I'm trying to find my genre, really. I mean, Dancing and Free is a bit musical theatre. Reason's got a touch of rap to it, and a bit poppy. So I'm not quite sure which pathway I'm supposed to be on. I'm trying to work that one out.
Very good. That'll come to you in a dream or a lyric. Yeah. I'm sure it will. Very good. What was the hospital that you wound up raising money for? We'd love to give them a little love.
Yeah, and that was Cottingham Hospital in Hull, in Yorkshire. In Hull?
Okay, very good.
That's where my brother lives, in Hull.
Uh-huh. All right, very good. And how's your brother doing? I know he's got long COVID, but how is he feeling?
Well, as he says, he's not the same as he used to be. Mm-hmm. He used to cycle a lot, but he can't do that anymore. He gets out of breath really quickly. He gets tired very quickly. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's affected him in that it brings him down because he can't do the things that he used to do.
Right, I understand.
But I think this is something that's happened to a lot of people with long COVID.
Yeah. But that's just it. It is something else, and make sure you get your shots for this season, okay? That's a big thing, too. Let's talk about your links to your social media. What's the best way to reach out to you and give you a little love from my listeners to reach out to you and say, you know something, Frankie, you're doing a great job?
Well, on Facebook and Instagram, I'm Frankie Carvalho songwriter.
Okay.
So that's Carvalho is spelled Carvalho. A lot of people spell it incorrectly. But if you search for me, and I'm also on X, which used to be Twitter.
Right.
The same. I think on X, I'm Frankie Carvalho, songwriter, stroke photographer.
Okay.
And I'm on Threads as well, but I am on Spotify and Apple Music as well. So,
how about some final thoughts? Some other things that we should know about Frankie that we do not know about.
Well, I've talked about my family history. Oh, my mum was a dancer. She was a ballroom dancer.
Oh, seriously, wonderful. All right.
Yeah, so here we have the program Strictly Come Dancing, which is Dancing with the Stars.
Yes, yeah.
And whenever I watch that, I think of my mum, because that's how she met my dad, because he was a musician and he was playing, and she was a dancer. So that's how they got together. So the
seeds of creativity were sown when you were born, for sure. Well,
yeah, and when my dad wasn't playing, he used to have students come to the house.
I understand. Yeah.
So there was always music in the house, always. And then my daughter married a drummer. And my grandson plays the drums.
Oh,
so,
geez, a long lineage of drummers there. Wow, son of a gun.
Yes, yes.
Okay. The final song we're going to feature is Broken Chords, the story on Broken Chords, Frankie. Broken
Chords is another sort of broken love song.
Okay.
I mean, when you're as old as me, you've had a few broken hearts along the line. So this is what this is about. And I sort of tied up my musical background with the broken chords side of it, with the title and with the theme. I could visualize a line of musical chords breaking up, just like a romance could break up.
That's deep. That'd be a nice photograph if you could find something like that. It'd be kind of like half of a musical staff, or the lines of the music, and then you see it just kind of breaking off toward the end before the coda.
Yeah, I mean, I have tried to do that, but it hasn't quite worked out.
Yeah.
I used another image for broken chords, but I would love to. I haven't given up on that. I'm going, because I've got lots of sheet music here. So if I cut some sheet music up and put one on top of the other and photograph it like that, it would look like broken chords.
Very good.
That's a thought.
There you go. Well, there we go. We worked on something. We learned something together today.
Yes.
And who's doing the vocals on Broken Chords?
Oh, that's Amy again.
Amy? All right. Very good.
Yes.
Very good. Amy Di Bartolomeo. I think I got that right. Very good. It has been an absolute delight, Frankie, to have you on the show today. And I thank you so very much for being part of our growing family here on the Someone You Should Know podcast.
It's an absolute pleasure and joy to meet you.
I'm standing in busy places, seeing 1,000 faces, but I still feel alone. I know we're at different stages, feels like our love was wasted. How did I get it so wrong? I just died from a broken heart. You played your part. A love was lost. You left me playing broken chords. I'm packing my bags, I'm leaving, even though my heart's still bleeding. I never felt so alone. Now my dreams have shattered. Did it really matter? And you left me here diminished on my own. All my dreams have shattered. Did it really matter? I need someone to call my own. I just died from a like before. Call it what you want, you're not in my arms.
Hi, this is Rick Anthony, thanking you again for listening to this episode of Someone You Should Know. Now, if you're an aspiring musician or an established musician that's looking for a little exposure, I invite you to drop us a line at someoneyoushouldknowpodcast@gmail.com. That's someoneyoushouldknowpodcast@gmail.com. Also, I invite you to tell a friend about the Someone You Should Know podcast. I thank you for tuning in this time, and I invite you to check us out next time on the Someone You Should Know podcast, because you never know who's going to show up. Until next time, remember, God loves you, and so do I.